Hello, you wonderful humans. Thank you for being here. It's Wednesday. It's 7 o'clock for another Wednesday weekly workshop where you get to ask Drew anything. I'm Drew. I'm the owner here at 3D Wellness. I'm also a clinician with more than 17 years worth of experience helping people heal safely and naturally from all sorts of problems, big and small. And every Wednesday at 7 o'clock, I go live to make sure that I get answers to your questions. But I can't do it alone. So I'm joined by the incomparable Two Boots Lori LeClaire.
Brr, it's cold outside.
We're staying warm in here.
We're warm in here.
Thank you so much for being here. If this is your first time tuning in, we are especially glad you are here. My name's Drew. I'm a clinical nutritionist. I'm the owner of 3D Wellness. Every Wednesday at 7, we go live to answer your questions. You can chat them in on the chat feature. Two Boots is watching the chat. She'll read off your question and I'll answer it. If you don't want your username associated with your question for some reason, just give us a call. We'll answer the phone. We'll take your question. And whatever the question is or whatever the source is, we're going to use the dry erase board behind me, which is lovingly called Mr. Doodles, to answer that question. First, I got to point something out. On Instagram, you have to have 1,000 followers in order to go live. We used to go live on Instagram during the Wednesday weeklies. We need about 770 more people, something like that, 750 more people before we can go live again. So please share this info with your friends that use Instagram. We're trying to crank those numbers up. We will continue to post the Wednesday weeklies here on YouTube. They won't be getting posted on Instagram anymore. They only let us post 20-minute videos. These Wednesday weeklies usually go for 40 to 60 minutes. So when we can go back to Instagram Live, you'll go back to seeing those videos posted regularly. For now, you can check them all out on our YouTube at DDD Wellness. What I want to do is start talking about this week. This week at 3D, big thing that came up was wound healing. A number of people have very slow healing wounds. They'll get a scratch and they'll say, geez, I feel like that's just not mending itself. Or sometimes, like in this gentleman's case, he had a wound on his lower leg and it just wasn't ever fully closing. So now that's a source of infections, it's a source of irritation. He was losing a little bit of blood if he even grazed it against something. Just a lousy situation. And so much of that has to do with the body's ability to mend itself. That's a really complex thing. But there's a couple of core nutrients I just want to point out real quick. Because as I thought about it, I've seen this a lot. I'll leave that there for now. I've seen this a lot in clinic. We need collagen. But in order for collagen to work in our body, we need trace minerals. And in order for trace minerals to really work in our body, we need whole vitamin C. So to all my people out there who are taking collagen protein powder, I'm proud of you. Please keep in mind, you also need minerals and vitamin C with that collagen in order for it to really kick. But now we got some really good wound healing going. Parasite removal was the other thing this week. A bunch of people with parasites this week. Was it the Wednesday weekly? I think it was 113.
Yes.
We spent an hour giving a presentation. It was the Wednesday weekly workshop number 113. It's posted here on YouTube. Deep dive into parasites. No hype, no hysteria. Just a couple of, a lot of statistics so that you understand what you're up against if you're dealing with parasites. And why there is so much social media that once you watch this, feels like hysteria because they're blowing it way out of proportion. I get to do this about once a month, get on the phone with a medical doctor, not to like go over one of my problems, but we have a mutual person that we're working with. And I really love doing that. On a lot of levels in our modern world, what I'm going to say about naturopaths and medical doctors applies to a lot of areas right now. The way forward is together. So it's really important for me to work hand in hand with somebody who does totally different work I do to support health. And we're different. We're always going to be different. And that's okay. Dr. Mark is here. I had 2 clients bring it up this week. They're like, hey, wait a minute. I was just watching one of your workshops and you said you have a psychologist on staff? I was like, yep. Emotions have a very pronounced influence over our physical wellness. Like, good. Well, it's nice to know that there's a psychologist that you're betting for. Convenient walk from your office, Drew. It's just across the lobby.
Yes.
And I'm excited because next month I get to travel to Tennessee. Last month it was Tennessee. I get to talk detox. So you know I'm going over my beloved Spanish black radish. This talk, this presentation I'm giving in Tennessee is the first of 5 that are scheduled for 2026. They got me going all over the country. I'll keep announcing them here as they come up. What month do I have 2? I think it's October. I think October I'm traveling twice.
Yep.
So you'll hear all about the ways I handle travel, especially when it's back-to-back like that, where there's a lot of airplane, a lot of cars, a lot of hotels, all in a short space.
I want to say May also, you're double booked on that month.
In May also?
Yeah.
Because I know we didn't do any in winter, because I said, man, my winter travel back to Milwaukee usually gets messed up. So this December talk I did, I'm like, let's have it be the last December talk. Unless you're going to like put me up in, I don't know, Phoenix for the weekend and then fly me home or something. Right? Let the storm pass, somewhere sunny.
There you go.
Yeah. That was this week at 3D.
Yep.
We got the muscle testing explained video up on YouTube. We got our heart health basics video up on YouTube.
Yeah, and I like the way you broke up the muscle testing video, you know.
Thank you.
Because it was over an hour in length, but to break it apart in little pieces makes it easier for people to.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah.
That muscle testing presentation that we gave was planned to be about 40 minutes long. Between the actual presentation and then the demonstration portion, like you said, Lori, went over an hour.
Yeah.
There were so many gems from that. So over the next, it's about a month and a half, you're going to see little 1 minute all the way up to 6-minute excerpts from that workshop, so you can kind of get a feel for what we were going over. I'm really hopeful that a lot of people who think muscle testing is total BS watch it.
Yeah.
To everybody watching this who just heard that, if you know people who think muscle testing is completely baloney, please send them that video. I don't mind getting spammed with questions or doubts or any of that stuff. But if we can get through to some more people and help them understand that it is a tool to be part of a toolbox, not the tool, but one of the tools we have at the ready. Yeah, that would be great. Oh, you look like you had a question from the lobby.
Yep, I got a question. I'm going to hand you the card so people can see that we actually get cards in our chat box.
We actually get cards. All right. Is fish a good source of dinner protein? Absolutely.
And this comes from a kiddo named Nora.
I love that.
Yes.
I love when the kiddos are engaged. All right, Nora. This one goes straight out to Nora. All right. Fish equals protein. Bonus thing, fish equals good fats. A little bit of this came up during the heart health talk. It's the omega-3 fats. They do stuff for our heart. They do stuff for our brain. Certain omega-3s can reduce inflammation in the body, so a lot of people use them for joint health. One of the areas that they help with inflammation is in the brain specifically. So it's food for the brain, plus it helps support a decrease of inflammation in the brain. Most fish loaded with omega-3s. I got a couple of favorites. I want to list off some of the favorites. While I'm thinking of it, we saw Sue tonight.
Yes.
Could you please grab her folder for me?
Sure can.
Thank you. I had some really good notes about fish. I was talking to Sue. She did our omega-3 test. I'm going to have Lori grab one of those too. We got a really simple test here for omega-3s. It's a finger prick. Would you grab an omega-3 test also? Thank you. It's a fingerprint. Eat out the blood on the card. It comes from a group called Omega Quant. They send you the results. They also send me the results. Then I'm more than happy to go over the results with you and explain what it actually means. They are measuring multiple factors, thank you, related to omega-3, trans fats, what type of omega-3, omega-6s. All of that is inside of this test. We're running a special on it right now that I'm not actually allowed to advertise. Man, this sounds like a sales pitch all of a sudden. I went from describing this really good test to like, call now, the phone lines are open. Feel a little scummy, I'll get over it. If you call us or email us, we can talk to you about the special we're running on this. Some other really good fish. Where's my list? Here we go. Some of the best. So it's going to be herring. It's going to be salmon. Bluefin tuna. People right away are going to ask, what about whitefin? Yeah, whitefin's pretty good also. And then some of them that you're less likely to really want to go for because it's stuff like sardines and anchovies.
I love sardines.
They're really good for you. What most people go for, it's going to be salmon. There are other fish that are still really good protein. So cod is still really good protein and scallops are still really good protein. These are the heavy hitters on the good omega-3s. Those are the ones we want to really emphasize.
Okay.
Thank you, Lori.
Yes.
One of my favorite things, though, when we make salmon is to definitely make an abundance of salmon and have some left over to have with my eggs the next morning. I think it's totally delicious with eggs. So fish at dinner, absolutely. It's really good protein. It's also really good fats. There's a couple of them to emphasize. I'm really hopeful that Nora will go for salmon or tuna because they are easily sourced.
Nice.
There you go, Nora. Good question. I think purple's a Nora color, right, Lori?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. All right, other questions rolling in.
She's tuned in.
She is? Nice! That's very meta, though. All of a sudden, I realize that I'm talking about somebody who hears me talking about them, who asked me a question in order to get me to talk about them. Whoa, my brain. Other questions?
I've got another one from the box.
Hit me with it. Thank you. Wow, this is a good one. Okay. Can kids take PMGs? I get to talk about PMGs? Must be a good day. All right, PMGs. It's an abbreviation from standard process. It stands for proto, that's the P, morphogen. Okay. And what this is a cell extract. Dr. Royal Lee, the gentleman who started standard process in 1929, almost 100 years ago. Whew. Real quick, I got to dork out about him. I can't talk about the guy without dorking out about him at least a little bit. When he was 16 years old, he told the teacher of his high school that they should teach physics at the school because it was the science of the future. The principal laughed at him and said, if you want to teach your classmates, you write up a syllabus for me and I'll let you teach it. And Dr. Lee spent the summer teaching himself physics. And in the autumn, he walked into the principal's office and put down the syllabus on the desk and politely asked him, which room am I teaching physics in this semester? He taught it for 2 semesters.
Wow, I've never heard that story. That's cool.
He's an Army veteran. He's a graduate of Marquette University Dental School. And he's responsible for a number of patents, over 100 in fact, including the piece of machinery inside of your car that when you press your gas pedal harder, you accelerate faster because of it, versus if you barely tap your gas pedal, you just kind of inch forward. The pedal's mechanical ability to detect how hard you're pressing it is because of something Dr. Royal Lee developed. Pretty great guy, okay?
Yeah.
So he figured out how to get this extract called PMGs out of cells. And basically what it is it's blueprints. It's instructions. that are organ or gland specific. Here's why that's such a big deal. Ibuprofen can be a really good thing to decrease inflammation in the body. It can be tough on the stomach and the kidneys, so I really don't want people needing to use it long term. I'm also aware that different NSAIDs, which is a kind of anti-inflammatory, can have lasting effects on connective tissue. And when push comes to shove, sometimes you need some kind of intervention that is anti-inflammatory. Okay? Where I'm going with that is that ibuprofen is generically anti-inflammatory across your body. When you take a PMG, you are getting a organ or gland specific support. So imagine if you went to the store to buy your ibuprofen and there was an ibuprofen for eyes and an ibuprofen for lungs and an ibuprofen for kidneys and one for liver and one for heart, all these different gland or organ specific ibuprofens. That's what PMGs are. They are support that is specific to a tissue in the body. Totally incredible stuff. Totally incredible stuff. During COVID, the big one was lung PMG. During heart health situations, the heart PMG is a big deal. All of my people with chronic kidney issues, the kidney PMG. My reproductive cases, especially when miscarriages are part of the program, that's going to be the uterus PMG. Women whose cycle is irregular, that's going to be the ovary PMG. There's all these different organ or gland specific blueprints, nutritional blueprints from Standard Process. And all of them have PMG at the end of them. So the question was, can kids take PMGs? The answer is absolutely yes, so long as they're already eating solid foods. Because my favorite part of PMGs is they're just food. They're just food. Okay? They're very specific food, prepared a very specific way. So if your child has already had the egg yolk and the avocado and the banana and the sweet potato and all, okay, then they can have PMGs.
Why did you say as long as the kiddo is eating food already?
Because if they're just on mom's milk,
Okay.
then it's not time for PMGs.
Okay.
I want to see them introduce non-mother's milk food sources before we introduce PMGs.
Fair enough.
There you go.
Okay.
So yeah, kids take them all the time. My kids take them. Plenty of the clients who are kiddos take them. And there's a neurotrophin PMG. It's really good brain support. A lot of ADD, ADHD kids do really well on that one. A lot of kiddos that are having trouble with bedwetting use the bladder PMG. It's the kidney PMG.
I like that they're safe for pets too.
Yeah, you can use them with pets. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's especially good during like housebreaking a puppy to have some kidney specific support. All sorts of applications that I've seen clinically with kiddos. Bladder's a big one, brain's a big one. Young athletes do really well on the heart PMG, just help their body develop. Had a young woman years ago who had very stunted growth. We used the pituitary gland PMG, and start of second grade, she was the shortest kid in her class. By the end of second grade, she was the third tallest overall.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
That is cool.
So PMGs, use them for kiddos when applicable.
Very good. Well, we've got a question rolling in from Barb.
Love it.
Barb,
Hit me with it.
Yep. Drew, what are your thoughts on vaccines? Yeah.
How late do I pay you to stay, Lori? I'm going to give you the quick and dirty, Barb. Out of respect for the topic of vaccines. So with most topics like vaccines that can potentially get a guy like me into trouble, I feel like I'm giving a very politician answer whenever I talk about it. It happens on the live stream when people ask me about ivermectin, because I'm not a veterinarian or a medical doctor, so I haven't been classically trained in ivermectin, so why should I have a commentary on it? The same is true about vaccines. I'm not trained in vaccines. What's really important for me, though, is that I want you to consider some ideas around vaccines because I see a lot of myths and I see a lot of concern and I see a lot of validity, and all of it is worthy of attention so we can clear it up and like really cut through it. With that in mind, vaccines, not all the same. So I want to make sure that if we're going to talk about vaccines, there are different versions, like different species basically of vaccines. So comparing how an mRNA vaccine works versus a non-mRNA vaccine is going to be a problem. One that is designed for infectious disease because you're traveling to a country where that disease is present and it's not present in the country you live in. That is a totally different application than a preventative for something that is always in your country and you're used to. So vaccines, one size does not fit all. That felt like a really convoluted way of saying that. Mm-hmm. They're definitely not all the same. And then reactions, not all the same. If I lined up 50 of my clients who got flu vaccine throughout my career, it would probably be 50-50. Half of them got the flu anyways, and the other half didn't. And then within that group again, it'd probably be 50-50 if their arm was sore or not. The arm being sore might not sound like a big deal, but the point is the way we're going to react to it, not all people are going to react to the same vaccine the same way. There's so many variables inside of humans. There's so many. So a vaccine that one person says, man, did that change my health dramatically for the better? Good for them. That does not mean that that'll have that same effect on every person. Ask about ingredients. I tell people to do that with their food. Okay? Their food. And they're just going to turn that stuff into poop. But our food goes through our teeth and our saliva and our stomach acid and enzymes and bacteria and squeezing and pushing and all this stuff before our body is done processing it. So there's all these mechanisms. Our teeth are going to crush it up. Our saliva is going to break it down. Our acid is going to melt it. A vaccine is introduced directly into your bloodstream. It doesn't have defenses like that. It isn't getting broken down. It is immediately inside of your blood. Compared to food, food has to go through so much of your digestive tract before it gets passed into your bloodstream. So I want you to know what's being put directly into your bloodstream. I have you do it with food, so I want you to do it with vaccines also. Because vaccines are much more direct delivery than food is. So they're not the same. People don't react the same to them. I encourage people to ask about ingredients because it's going straight in your bloodstream. And then I encourage people to have a doctor willing to converse about them. So doctors are trained about vaccines. If you bring reasonable, logical questions to them, if you avoid using Facebook as your source of the research, a doctor should be willing to sit with you and talk about any concerns you have. Grab the insert from the box so you can look at the ingredients together and you can say things like, hey, does that say that there's aluminum in here or am I misunderstanding that word? I encourage you to have a doctor that's willing to converse with you like that. That should be the level of healthcare. They're a healthcare provider, they should be willing to sit with you and talk with you. None of that is specific about a single vaccine, Barb, so I'm sorry. But there is a very deep philosophical, I want you to think about this philosophically. That's why I bring these things up. It's my spiel on vaccines.
Okay.
I brought up that doctor thing, and a client said, yeah, I found that doctor. My sister sees that doctor. I'm starting with them. I have to wait over a year to get in. So I'm seeing that's an issue also, that a lot of the best doctors out there are booked out maybe over a year in advance. But it makes sense, because if they're a good doctor, people find that, and then they're telling people in their life, like, I found a good one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Good word travels fast.
That's right. Interesting.
All right, other questions rolling in.
How about, can you tell us about what you know about H. pylori?
Sure. Okay, taking me back to biology.
Seems like a lot of people have issues with it. And I personally would like to know more about it.
Sure. All right, let's see what I remember from my biology classes.
And not because my name is in it.
Jeez. Top tier dad joke from Two Boots back there. Want to talk about H. pylori? Emphasis on the ending. Okay. Yeah, I'm never gonna unsee that. I'm never gonna be able to not.
That's the only reason why I know how to pronounce that word.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay. H. pylori. So in the past, when I've worked with clients dealing with H. pylori, it was a stomach issue. Lori, can you do a real quick search and tell me if I'm right on this? The H stands for helicopter because the shape of it, and it's a bacteria. Would you please check that for me? I want to see if I can flash all the way back to freshman year biology.
Helicobacter.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, helicopter shape.
Okay.
And then it's a bacteria?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Okay, good. Hey, brain still works. All right, so it's affecting people in their stomach. So what I want to talk about is what I do when I'm working with a client who's been diagnosed with H. pylori. We have to make sure the pH of the stomach is very acidic. So I need everybody to just bear with me. We're going to talk about pH for just a minute. I'm going to color code it. It's going to help. All right, so there's this scale of pH, and it goes from 0 all the way up to 14, and 7 is totally neutral. So you're probably thinking to yourself, Drew, I've heard of acid, or I've seen movies where the bad guy gets dipped in acid, or you saw Phantom of the Opera and you throw the acid on the guy's face, okay? And acid hurts, it breaks things down. You're totally right. And alkaline can do the same thing. If you go extreme enough, it gets very combustible and dangerous. In terms of acidic, 7 is neutral, so it has no acidic qualities. All the way down to 0, that is incredibly acidic. That is like pour it on rocks and the rocks dissolve in front of you. The pH of our stomach should be right around 1 to 2. Think about how acidic that is if 0 is melting rocks, okay? And that sits right here, right inside of us. But what happens is that people get really stressed out, they get malnourished, and the nutrients required to maintain that very acidic stomach acid just aren't present. Or if they are present, they're getting burned off during that stressful time. And that means that their stomach drifts away from being acidic enough, which creates an environment where H. pylori can happen. So when I'm working with somebody who's dealing with H. pylori, I'm asking them to do things that help us determine the acidity of their stomach acid and to nourish up the production of stomach acid, the maintenance of the lining of the stomach. This is pretty cool. So I just said there's like this incredibly acidic thing that's sitting inside of your body. Here's what your stomach kind of looks like. Kind of bulges out and goes like that. The walls of it, I'm going to use pink, and I'm sorry, Barb, because I know it doesn't show up well on your screen, have this lining of mucus. And the idea with that is we can have this insanely acidic, it's a pH of 1 or 2 inside of our stomach, and it's not ever actually damaging the tissues of our body because it's never touching the tissues of our body. When it does touch the tissues of our body, we have a word for that: ulcer. That's when this pink lining breaks down, squeaky, squeaky, and all of a sudden the acid can go through and actually touch the tissues of the stomach. That's an ulcer. The H. pylori can only thrive if the pH of the stomach isn't in the right spot. Our body can handle having really acidic stuff in there because it's got a protective mechanism to it. There's nutrients for the protective mechanism if someone has a weak one, so when they try to correct pH things, it doesn't go well and they get symptoms. Then we have to build up that lining and then go after the acidic issue. And historically, the people I've worked with dealing with H. pylori, when we do this, a lot of their digestive symptoms just go away.
Does that take more time than for some than others?
Sure.
As far as the healing process?
Yeah, because there's an aspect to H. pylori where the immune system also has to kick in. And that goes into stress level and lifestyle stuff and all that.
Okay.
The correcting of the pH and the support for the lining of the stomach, the pink, that can be 3 or 4 months, relatively quick.
Okay.
If the immune system is involved or if the immune system is jeopardized, that's the thing. Then we're talking, it's more like a year, 2 years.
I'm curious what that lining is made of that is stronger than rocks.
Yeah. And it's got 7 layers to it. So that's part of its magic.
Okay.
Is it's like, it's like having layers on in cold weather. You stay warmer. It's mucus. Think about how strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the stomach makes that. Like the stomach is aware, I make this to keep myself safe so I can do my job. Yeah.
Okay. So it's like they have a contract.
In good standing.
Yes.
Regular meetings. Lawyers aren't involved. It's just to sit down. Absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good question.
Mm-hmm.
When I did the presentation in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan in August, it was 7 hours on the digestive tract. So we spent a little over an hour talking about the stomach alone and the importance of acid. And I pulled up a little video from YouTube of a guy in a white lab coat in a lab pouring a mixture with a pH of 2 over food. And watching what it did to the food was just totally incredible.
Yeah.
Seeing it looked like the turkey breast was just like dissolving.
Yeah.
And it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, just cool.
It takes about 2 hours for food to be completely worked on in the stomach before it enters the intestines, correct?
Yeah, food usually sits in our stomach for about 2 hours before it moves on.
Yeah. Okay. Just breaking it down.
2 parts. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
This is good info. All right, so let's go back to drawing what the stomach looks like. It's a pretty stomach. We're going to draw our mucosal lining because it might come up. All right, so food enters the stomach, and basically, hour 1, the pH drops. So if you remember that scale, that means acidic. So the stomach becomes aware because of signals from our sensory organs, our sense of smell. Oh, food's coming. Oh, that was brutal. Sorry, our office is right above a Domino's. And deeply breathing in through your nose when they are absolutely doing the dinner hour rush. There's a lot of pizza smell. Your body, you smell the food, you see the food, you hear it cooking, all that sensory stuff, you taste it. That actually fires up the stomach and gets it to spend about an hour dropping that pH. So when the food falls into the stomach, it's ready to just tear it apart, really break it down, break those minerals down, break down the protein, etc. That part of the process signals other things further down the chain. So you smelling your food and seeing your food and tasting your food fires up your stomach, and that in turn fires up the next step. So it's really important that you smell your food and look at your food before you eat it. This comes up when I talk to people about drive-thrus. The biggest problem I have with drive-thrus is that you aren't smelling the food cooking. If you even went into a fast food restaurant, you would smell the food cooking, and that helps fire up your gut. Drive-throughs, you don't get that. Quick little side note.
That's interesting.
After hour 1, your body becomes aware that the food is eventually going to have to exit the stomach. So for about another hour, the pH comes back up a little bit. And that makes it easier for the stomach to open up and let the contents go into the small intestine, where it's greeted with all sorts of wonderful things that really pull the pH up so that that stomach acid doesn't bother our small intestine. So don't worry about that part. The small intestines have that sorted out. So food is in your stomach for about 2 hours. The first hour, it's obliterating it. The second hour, it's making it ready to transport to the intestines.
Yeah.
That's why I tell people, if you eat something, you're having dinner, from the time you start eating, make sure it's not more than an hour before you stop. So don't spend more than an hour eating a meal.
I see.
And there's fancy meals that are like 5 courses and all that. I get that. It's not great for your tummy. What's ideal is all the food is into your body within about 30 minutes, and then it has a full 30 minutes of that crazy low pH to break it apart before we start to change that. When you eat foods after that, I'm going to say 30 minutes, they don't break down as well. Anything you eat after that first hour definitely is not digesting optimally because it goes into an environment where the pH is becoming less supportive of digestion. I see that making sense with 2 boots.
I have 2 things to say.
Yeah.
One is that explains why grazing is not a good idea.
That's one of the reasons grazing is a bad idea. You're right.
Because does that mean then after hour 2 that stomach is opening to release into the intestines and you've got more food coming in, it doesn't have a chance to sit in that first hour and do what it needs. So some food is slipping through, I imagine, prematurely.
Lori's taking over the live stream, everybody. It's been good to see you. No, you got it. Like, you're 100% right.
Wow. Ooh. And then my other thought, as
Yeah.
long as we're talking about this explains acid reflux.
Go on.
And why that's such an issue, because so often people are told they don't have enough stomach acid when in fact, you take over now.
Sure. So we see a really common issue with our clients who come to us and they've been diagnosed with heartburn and acid reflux, or even the people who just say, I have the symptoms of this.
Yeah.
I Dr. Googled it, and I'm like, good enough. With a lot of those people, I'm never saying all, because I've never seen an issue be all people. Okay? But with a lot of those people, what color can I hit here? Blue. They are told that if an ideal stomach acid level is here, okay, it's at the blue line. They're told that their acid level is coming up to here now. And that because it's up there, that's why they're getting their symptom. They have too much acid inside of their stomach. That is the problem. They have too much acid in their stomach. I completely agree with that. And I have a different reason why that's happening than most people. Our stomach is aware of what its job is. And like I just mentioned, the stomach produces the mucus that protects itself. It's like the stomach knows what it's dealing with. The organ, your stomach, is aware that there's some gnarly stuff inside of it. That's why it makes its own mucus. Does that make sense so far? Okay. If the pH goes too low in the stomach goes, oh no, the pH goes too high. If it's not acidic enough, the stomach goes, oh no, we don't have the potency needed to break down the food. I know what I'll do. I'll just throw more acid in there. And then the stomach starts to fill up. That making sense? And ultimately it fills up too far, but the stomach goes, hey, the pH of this acid is lousy. I'm going to need more of it to accomplish my work. Okay. So people are put on acid blockers because their acid level is too high in their stomach. So we want to block the production of the acid, pull that down. Here's what I encourage instead. There's these little proton pumps that are kicking out acid. We nourish them up in such a way that they can make the ideal pH, and the stomach doesn't need such quantity because it has the right quality. And then it's not going to overproduce the acid, because what it has in there, like, this is plenty strong. We don't need a lot of it. We got all the strength we need with this. Throw some food in here. Let's break it down. So historically, when we've seen people do better with things like acid reflux and heartburn, we're making sure those little pumps are making really high quality product.
And then the heartburn, so to speak, is actually caused because of gas escaping.
That's another reason that can happen. If the valve at the top of the stomach.
Yes.
All these colors, should you use them? Purple? Purple. There's a valve at the top of the stomach that's supposed to stay closed in between eating.
Yeah.
But if that valve gets weak, typically because of a deficiency in the mineral manganese, not magnesium, then it can't quite close all the way, and you'll start to get like little leaks. And some of the vapor from the stomach will leak up into the esophagus. I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah, so some of it will start to leak because it doesn't close quite tightly enough. And that'll bother, because that valve's supposed to be totally closed so that all the acid stays in that place.
Gotcha.
That designs its lining to tolerate all that acid staying in that place.
Okay. Yep. Gotcha.
Tonight's Wednesday Weekly Workshop is brought to you by Stomach Function and Anatomy.
All right.
There you go. Those are good questions.
Yeah.
Any questions rolling in on YouTube?
We've got another question from Nora, actually.
Oh, right on.
Yep. Her mama texted me.
She's got that direct line access.
So Nora wants to know, why is it beneficial to allow a PMG to dissolve in your mouth rather than swallow it right away?
Very great question. Let's dork out about PMGs just a little bit more. PMGs, I'm going to write this down. Who am I kidding? PMGs are primarily protein and minerals. The structure or the size of the proteins is so small, so incredibly small, that it'll actually absorb under your tongue. And part of what's amazing about that is when the type of proteins that are inside of the PMG absorb under your tongue, they get to go straight into your bloodstream. And when they skip the whole stomach acid spiel I just gave, unless you want me to give it again real quick, because I still have the markers. When it skips that stomach acid thing and goes straight into the bloodstream, it has a much more potent impact. So taking PMGs and just eating them, still good. Don't get me wrong, still very good. But if you want to like really have that PMG kick in maximum power, you get it to absorb under your tongue. You do that by chewing them, or it's pretty regular around here. We'll have parotid or cardiotrophin, or that's the heart PMG, or the adrenal PMG. Just pop one or two in our cheeks. Just let them dissolve for an hour or two.
I was just going to ask, is it necessary to be under the tongue, or can it be in the cheek pockets?
If it's in if you're holding it like we do, your saliva is mixing with it and it's still absorbing under your tongue.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to hold the actual tablet under the tongue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why. And then they kick just that little bit more.
Nora, I'm glad you asked that question, because I was just naturally doing that, but I didn't know that that was actually a better way of taking them. So I appreciate knowing I've been naturally just doing the right thing.
Way to go, Nora.
Cool.
I try to chew all of my supplements. There's some of them that it flat out says on the box, not recommended for chewing. And I would agree. I've tasted the worst tasting supplement on earth. That's Tongkat Ali. And that's okay if you don't agree with me. But you got to tell me that you've chewed Tongkat Ali before. And if you haven't, I got a bottle open here. I'll do it with you because misery loves company. But there's nothing else on earth I've ever tasted like that in terms of, The rest of my tablets, I like to chew them up. I like my taste buds to react with them. It's helped send signals down the digestive tract. Hey, here's what's coming at you. Here's your magnesium source. It's Swiss chard and buckwheat. So turn on the mechanism to digest chard and buckwheat. Here's your Spanish black radish. So we got some sulfur coming in. So turn on whatever you need to digest that. I like that idea. I don't chew the capsules because when the powder bursts in my mouth, it's like the cinnamon challenge. I'm like, my mouth is dry. Chew all my PMGs. With PMGs, I like to do them first thing in the morning for most circumstances. And it's a nice little ritual to have. You wake up in the morning, you take a drink of water, and then you chew your PMGs. You wait about 20 minutes before you eat anything. You go about your business. A lot of my clients say in that 20-minute window where they've chewed up the PMGs, they're waiting to have food. They journal, they pray, they meditate. I got one client, that's the time in the morning that she calls her best friend and they check in with each other. And then they wish each other a good day. I think that's flipping adorable. Kind of want to do it. So Joe, Keith, and BJ, look out. I'm going to be telling you I need to call you every morning.
I stand on my Vibe plate and drink my warm lemon water.
Right on. I go outside and put my feet in the earth at least 30 feet from my house because one of our clients who's an electrician explained that the electrical field of your house reaches beyond the walls of your house.
Okay, yeah.
Typically by 15 to 20 feet. Wow. So he said, so grounding right outside of your house is not recommended from his standpoint.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Paul. So now I walk 30 feet away. Yes, it is very cold in the winter. It's absolutely frigid in the winter. I did not do it Monday or Tuesday when we had neg temps. That's foolish. Yeah. But yeah, so you can ground when you do it, meditate, pray, journal. Yeah, whatever you do. Other questions rolling in?
No. That's it. Mary Ellen just asked, what is a PMG? Did I miss something earlier? And we're going to say, yes, you did. Watch the second question on tonight's feed.
Because I go full dork about my professional hero, Dr. Royal Lee.
Yep.
Yeah. What time is it?
It is 7:48.
Okay. It's a good time to wrap it up.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the questions tonight. Big shout out to Nora.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to grab Levi here. Use my handy dandy looper pedal to play us out. I'm going to remind you, there is a reason that we keep our contact info on screen during every presentation we give here in our classroom. We want to hear from you. We want you to know that you can reach us. The way that Wednesday weeklies started was I kept hearing clients express that they had a healthcare provider that they had questions for, and they could only message in the questions. They couldn't have time to actually have a back and forth with them. They would try to schedule things, and then they would be charged money. So the reason Wednesday weekly live streams got started was so that every week, all of my clients know a time and a place where they can get a hold of me. Every week. That's why we're here.
Nice. We thank you.
Little different sound for the outro. There's the sound. I'm going to play us out with our looper pedal. I'll miss you till I see you again. We'll see you next week.